All right, so our third example we're going to do for split method is 3x squared plus 24x minus 60 equals 0. So the first step is to make sure it's in standard form, which it is. We have ax squared, then plus bx, and then our constant at the end and equal to 0. Okay, the next step is going to be to try to find a GCF. So we've got 3, 24, and 60, which all have 3 in common. So our greatest common factor between the 3 terms would be 3. So I can divide out 3 from each of these terms. So we're going to have 3 and then x squared plus 8x and then minus 20 equals 0. All right, so now we can treat it like the other problems. We just have to be careful what's A, what's B, what's C. So A now has changed to have a value of 1, B is equal to 8, and C is equal to negative 20. So in our X, we always put A times C up top and then B in the bottom. So 8 would be down here, and then 1 times negative 20 would just be negative 20. So I need to come up with 2 numbers that will multiply to be negative 20 and add to be 8. So again, for a lot of you, it might be helpful to make a factor tree for 20. So I can break 20 down into 20 and 1. That wouldn't give me 8. I could do 5 and 4. But that would give me 9. I could do 10 and 2. Well, this would give me 8 as long as one of those is negative. So in order to add to be a positive 10, the 2 would need to be negative. So I would have a positive 10 and a negative 2, which would also multiply to be negative 20. Okay, so now the next step is to split up B into these 2 terms that I came up with. Okay, now don't go back to the original problem. We're going to use 8x, and instead of writing 8x, we're going to write positive 10 and negative 2x. So my 3 is still in front, and now I'm going to have x squared plus 10x minus 2x minus 20 equals 0. And again, the order of these 2 doesn't matter. So if you put the minus 2x first and then the plus 10x second, that's totally fine. So now I'm going to look for the GCF of these 2 terms and then of my second 2 terms. So the GCF for my first 2 would just be 1x, and the GCF for my second one would be 2. And again, remember my hint was use the sign of this number here. So this one's going to be negative 2. So bring down the 3, and then I'm going to have x plus 10 once I factor out the x, and then minus 2. And when I factor out a negative 2, I'll be left with x plus 10. All right, so now the very last step would be to factor out my GCF again, which for this problem would be x plus 10. So 3 is still there, and now I'll have x plus 10, and then what's left over will be x minus 2 equals 0. And this would be my factored form. Okay, then to find the solutions, I'm just going to set my factors equal to 0. So x plus 10 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. So here I would subtract 10. So x equals negative 10. And here I would add 2. So x equals positive 2 would be my second solution.